Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Right Hand Podcast, where we talk about how law firm owners build stronger, smarter, and more sustainable firms. Most lawyers, what they do is they start their firm to gain freedom, gain independence. But as the firm grows, new challenges appear. And these challenges can come in the form of hiring, leadership, operations, profitability. This podcast, what we do is we explore the strategies and the insights that help law firm owners move from just simply practicing law to running a law firm. This podcast is brought to you by Reuben Allen. We are the strategic right hand for growing firms in conjunction with our sister company, Marshall Graham Consulting. I am Greg Copeland. Let's get it started. And today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about one of the biggest threats to a law firm's success. And that threat, it's even though it's one of the biggest, it's rarely dramatic. It doesn't show up in a crisis, like as a crisis. It doesn't come with warning lights, warning signs, danger, danger, danger. What happens is it appears uh, it appears quietly, and that threat is disorganization. And the reason why disorganization is so dangerous because it often hides in plain sight. And so today we're going to talk about why disorganization quietly undermines many law firms and why organization is actually a competitive advantage um, when building your law firm. Uh, so let's tackle first this grand myth about disorganization. And so many lawyers assume that disorganization is simply a byproduct of being busy. Kind of what they're thinking is we're growing. Um, Things are naturally going to be a little bit chaotic. This is just the way things are supposed to be. But what happens and what starts as small inefficiencies, what they do is they slowly turn into major structural problems. And disorganization, it rarely appears dramatic. Dun dun dun. It shows up shows up quietly, um, and it shows up in like missed follow-ups, unclear responsibilities for you and your staff, files that take too long to locate, emails that sit unanswered a bit longer than they should, deadlines that require like last minute scrambling around to meet them. And none of these issues, when you have them, to a lot of people, it seems normal. None of them appear catastrophic on their own, but together they create something very dangerous, and they create friction inside the firm. And so this affects your clients as well. And disorganization impacts the clients because clients may not see your internal system, but what happens is they definitely end up feeling the effects of them. When a firm is disorganized, excuse me, when a firm is disorganized, clients, what happens is they experience like your slow response time. Um, they have to make repeated requests for information, or you're repeatedly requesting information from them. Um, uncertainty about uh, they have uncertainty about the status of their cases. Um, and even when the core legal work itself feels strong, the client is experiencing something different, and the client experience suffers. And in today's environment, client experience matters more than ever. More than ever, we have moved with the impact of technology more to a client driven uh, atmosphere in all forms of businesses, not just in law firms. Disorganization can also impact your staff, and that happens when roles and processes are unclear. And when that happens, your team often feels like they are constantly being reactive and not proactive. And so they may not know simple things like, who's responsible for certain tasks, who's responsible for calendaring, scheduling, follow-ups, filing, whatever it may be. They don't know, and they're uncertain what the priority should be from day to day in the firm. What's more important? What's less important? What needs to be handled right away? What can be put on the back burner? And they don't know how that work should flow through the firm. And what happens is this ends up creating frustration within the team, and it also leads to inefficiency and burnout because they're handling something here. They stop in the middle of handling task one to start task two. They get a quarter way through task two. Now they're on a task three, back to task two, back to task one. And so there's no real direction into that. And so good employees, they want structure. They want clarity. They want to know how to succeed. And without organization, even talented teams, they begin to struggle. Disorganization also affects and impacts the leadership of the firm. And this might be the biggest impact that disorganization has because, when systems are unclear, the founder of the law firm, the owner of the law firm often becomes the solution to every problem, the go-to to every problem. And what happens is questions are constantly flowing upward. And those decisions pile up on the founder, the owner of the law firm. Um, and then the interruptions multiply. You may be working on case strategy. Now you have people coming into your office or sending you instant messages or giving you a call, needing answers to questions because your staff doesn't know what to do. Clients are uneasy. And instead of focusing on that strategy and growth, you're spending most of your time reacting and answering these questions, putting out these small fires. And that's not leadership. That's survival mode. And that's not good. Um, Organization, a lot of people are hesitant about putting these tools in place to organize because they see organization as, well, I got this law firm for freedom. I don't want to set up some kind of red tape bureaucracy. But I'm here to tell you, organization is not bureaucracy. Um, too many lawyers associate organization with bureaucracy. They imagine, unnecessary rules or excessive documentation. But when you have real organizational structure, that's different. Um, Good organization, what it does, it creates clear workflows, defined responsibilities, uh, consistent processes. So if someone's out, someone else can step in and follow that same process and knows what to do from A to Z. This reduces confusion. It helps to speed up decision making. It makes the firm easier to operate because you have a standard procedure and process in place. So, in other words, the organization does not slow firms down. What it does is actually allows you to move your firm faster. You can also use that organization as a competitive advantage because far too many law firms out there are not organized. Um, Strong firms eventually realize, something important, that organization is just it's not just about efficiency, it's a competitive advantage. Uh, when your firm is organized, clients receive faster responses. So, employees know what to do. Um, Leaders can focus on growth instead of constant problem solving. And what happens is this creates a smoother, more confident organization. And the clients notice this when everything is running smoother, when responses are faster. This firm, these people really know what they're doing. And obviously, you get referrals off of that as well, client satisfaction. So, I mean, in closing, disorganization rarely destroys a firm overnight, but over time, it slowly erodes and it erodes the efficiency, the morale, the client experience. And the firms that thrive long term recognize that that structure, it's not a limitation. What it is, it creates the foundation for the firm to build off of. And when a firm builds off a strong organizational systems, um, everything else becomes clearer. And I just wanted to thank you guys again for joining us. Um, the Right Hand Podcast. If you're a law firm owner looking to build a stronger, more organized, and more profitable firm, you can visit us at Reuben-Allen.com and learn how we help firms grow. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to follow, share the show, share it with another firm leader. So until next time, keep building the firm that you set out to create. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Bye.